Yo, what's up everybody? Today I want to talk about one of the best Spiritborn leveling builds for Diablo 4 Season 10. It's a poison build. It's a poison speed leveling build. Now when you think of poisons, you think of slow damage over time, not this build. This build is one of the fastest leveling builds. It was incredible last season, and somehow it's got buffed. Not just a small buff, there are 3 huge buffs coming into Season 10. 1, Stinger has been buffed. That is our main core ability that deals a big amount of poison damage. The ultimate itself, the Devourer, has gone from 140% damage to 200% damage, and then the damage bonus has also increased on top of it. Then we have the key passive, which has gone from 180% to 300% single target damage. The way this works is we use Rushing Claw to just teleport around the screen, we drop all of our poisons, and everything just melts. Even stuff off the screen starts to melt before we get there. So yeah, this is going to be incredible in Season 10, and it will likely lead to a very, very strong endgame build, which I'll have ready as soon as possible. So let's get straight into this. Okay, so on the skill tree, from the top, we want to start with Withering Fist. Now you just want to put 1 point in here. It says 4, but that's just some coming from gear. It's just 1 point, and then 1 point into Enhanced, which you gain 1 vigor per second for every nearby enemy. Now, the reason we use this is we just use it when we run out of vigor. If you run out of vigor completely casting all your other abilities, you drop down to Withering Fist, press it and get a bit of vigor back, and you're good to go back to the damage dealing abilities. So on the core skills, we want to do Stinger. 5 out of 5, this is a very strong poison ability. You read this and it says, strike a small area, but it also damages all surrounding poisoned enemies. And with our other skills, everything's going to be poisoned, and we can increase the size of that as well. Then you want to go Enhanced, and you want to go Advantageous to trigger Vulnerable. Then on here, you want to get 3 out of 3 in both of these. Balanced Exertion for, more damage on core skills, and then Velocity for Generate Vigor per second. So really, really good here. Down into the next section, 3 points into Focal Point to get the benefits from your weapon type, and then 3 points into Apex for increased vulnerable damage, which we'll be triggering with Stinger. Down into the next section. Okay, now I want a 5 out of 5 Scourge. Now when you look at Scourge, it doesn't look like it does much damage. However, what it does is you call for the wave of enemies, and it fears and slows enemies by 50% for 3 seconds, and does poison. So 1, you trigger poison, so wherever it says, damage to poison enemies, your enemies are poisoned, big win. But what you get here is fear and slow our crowd controls, and we have some aspects that you'll see in the next section that deal incredibly large amounts of damage to feared and slowed enemies. So this is a really good way to trigger tons of damage. So even though it doesn't look like much, this is going to be one of the things you want to always be pressing. In here, every time you hit an enemy with Scourge, you gained increased damage versus crowd-controlled enemies. Again, up to 50%, which is huge. And then Reinforced, you gain Vigor, so amazing. We get this as well. Casting a defensive skill grants you 30 Vigor. So you can already see we've got very good Vigor generation already. Next section, you want to get 3 points here. Your Potency skills have increased damage. Then you want to get this. This additional Poison one. Strike an enemy, infect them, applying poison damage. When it expires, the swarm hatches and seeks enemies. This is a spread. This is how we spread poisons even off the screen. Really, really strong. You have this here, it heals you, and then you have this down here. Invasive, swarm bursts every second, applying base poison over 6 seconds to surrounding enemies. This is how we get, if you saw at the start where poison's just like spreading out past our actual, where we are, it comes from this. You go 3 points into Ravenous, your centipede skills deal increased damage, and then you have Oppressive, your centipede skills deal increased damage to crowd-controlled enemies, and gain 30% increased crowd control durations. This is huge. And then the ultimate, the big centipede boy. This is one of my favorite abilities in the game, honestly. The centipede spirit emerges, blasting enemies. Now this is 5 out of 5. The damage is good. You want to go for Harmonious. The Devourer launches 10 toxic globs that apply poison damage. Enemies affected by poison globs also take increased poison damage. And then, while Every's active, any non-boss enemies remaining alive become poisoned. They instantly go down, which is phenomenal, and they unleash a swarm. So this is just, when you hit a big pack of elites and you just go, 1, 2, 3, you pop your 3 poison, your 3 big poison abilities, everything goes down in like a second. So really, really good. Then we want to go into here. Oh, additionally, with the powers, the Season 10, the chaos powers, which we're going to talk about, you can trigger this even more. So we'll get into that. Then in the section here, you basically want this set up 3-1-3, 3-1-3. What you want is Supremacy is really, really good. While ever an ultimate skill is active, it grants you a stack, increasing your damage. You want to get this one here, cast an ultimate skill that grants you increased damage. And then this one here, upon casting an ultimate skill, the last potency, defensive, or focus skill you cast prior is reset and can be cast for free up to 3 times. Really, really, really good setup here. So yeah, that's That's all your abilities. And then your key passive, you want to go for Noxious Resonance, which I'm recording this like pre-season 10 just to get it out in time for everybody. But this has been buffed. It's not 180% anymore. It's 300%. And the other bit's gone down to 10. So one's gone down by 10. The other's gone up by 120%. So this is just a absolutely massive amount of poison damage. And this just helps us spread our poisons. So yeah, that's the skill tree as a whole. Okay, now for the Spirit Hall. So if you've never played a Spiritborn before, you have two options here. The first choice is really important. The first choice basically lets you tag your abilities as something else. So say right now, all but one of our abilities are Centipede. They're all poison, apart from Rushing Claw. We could go into here and we could choose Gorilla, and it would turn all of our abilities also into Gorilla skills. So you could see now they have Centipede and they have Gorilla, which means when we look at our aspects and our gear and stuff like that, our uniques, you could have buffs to Gorilla skills, and that would work on our poison skills. So you can do that, but I think honestly, this is the best choice. It's just best to stick with Centipede because the thing you get here, the power you get for having the Centipede Spirit Hall buff is just so good. Hitting an enemy with a Centipede skill reduces their damage, which is great, slows them by 15%, which puts a crowd control on them, and we've already seen we deal significantly more damage to crowd controlled enemies, and we deal poison damage over 6 seconds, stacking up to 8 times. So this is just, it's just so strong. It also, as a small extra thing, it tags our Rushing Claw as Centipede, which is great. It means Centipede now poisons enemies. Rushing Claw now poisons enemies, which is really good. On the second one, this doesn't tag your abilities, but it gives you a pretty good buff. I'd go for Jaguar. So if we go Jaguar in the second choice, we gain an extra ferocity and gain 1 stack of ferocity whenever you defeat an enemy or damage a boss. And if you're not sure what ferocity does, you can hover over Rushing Claw, and you can see at the bottom, ferocity increases your attack speed by 5% per stack. This effect stacks up to 4 times, and each hit lasts for 4 seconds. So now it will stack an additional time, and we can gain it just by beating enemies. So this is like a permanent attack speed buff, which is just really nice. Okay, now let's talk about the gear and the aspects. So if we pull up the build guide, it's easy to see them on this, and I'll link this down below so you can, check everything out yourself. They're all here. So on the gear, this is what we're looking for. Firstly, I'm going to go over the main two, which is the two-hander and the amulet, because they are buffed. The two-hander is 200% increase and the amulet is 150. So on the two-hander, I would go for aspect of the pestilence. Stinger spawns a pestilent swarm at its target, which deals 90% of the stinger's base damage per hit. The swarm also lasts 50% longer and spiral outwards. But at the start, in those clips, where you saw the big spinny circles of like the bugs, that's what that is. And it's extremely high damage. It's really useful. Then we go for the binding morass on the amulet. Close damage, or those you deal indirect damage to, are slowed by up to 70% for 3 seconds, and you deal 30% increased damage to slowed enemies. This build has so many ways to ramp up crowd control damage, so anywhere we can do more crowd control, or any way we can increase our crowd control damage, is just a significant buff to the build. Then on the rings, I would go for Insatiable. Defeating an enemy increases the duration of your swarms from the touch ability. When a swarm is replaced early, it bursts for 300% of the damage it would have done. Really useful. The more you use the ability, the more you're going to do that. Then we have the Rip and Tear. Rushing Claw deals increased damage, is an empowered based on how many charges it has when you cast it. Really useful. Okay, now on the left side, we've got aspect of the Protector. Damaging an enemy gives you a barrier. We have the Menacing. Scourge constantly affects enemies around you, which is really helpful. Aspect of Infestation. Lucky hit centipede skills have a chance to spawn a swarm. We've already talked about, how good the swarms are, so this buffs those again. Then we have the Duelist. Maximum ferocity increased by 1 to 5. So if you get a good roll on this, this is extra ferocity. In our skill tree, we've already talked about our Spirit Hall. We've already talked about how we can constantly generate these ferocities just by defeating enemies. So that's going to constantly keep going up. So if the maximum is higher, that can go up even higher, which means more attack speed. And then finally, Shared Misery. When you hit a crowd-controlled enemy, there is a chance for that to spread to another unaffected enemy. Again, I've yapped on so much about crowd control, but yeah, big damage. That's all the aspects. Okay, and then I've also thrown together some gear stats. So this is a leveling build, so don't stress too much about trying to get like the perfect gear with the perfect stats on tempering every 5 levels and stuff like that. It's just going to be a waste of time. If you're trying to push this further, if you're getting into the upper levels and you want to keep using it, it's good to try and get the right stats and get some tempers. And when you're looking at replacing gear, it's good to know what you're looking for. So here's a rough guide. So basically, the main things you want to get is the same as every other build, really, and that is ranks. Ranks to your abilities is amazing. So you can see you can get ranks to your touch on your helmet, you can get ranks to your scourge on your armor. Main thing, you can get ranks to stinger on your hands. You can get ranks to some passive skills like oppressive. There's others that are really good on your neck. So ranks are really, really, really good because they can give you like multiple levels of that skill. And that's where, you know, a significant amount of damage comes from. Attack speed is really good. Neck, rings, hands. I think that's it. So yeah, getting attack speed significantly increases the damage you can put out on this build. When it comes to everything else, you're just looking for like defensives and stuff. And then with Masterworking, we can do some pretty cool things. We can increase the size of our abilities. So Stinger size, we can do with our utility. We can do Scourge size as well. And this is really good because these are relatively small AoEs that do a ton of damage. If we increase them, we're going to get a lot more mobs in them, which is really useful. We can increase our centipede damage, which is really, really, really good. We can reduce the cooldown on the Devourer, which is our ultimate, the big centipede that comes out of the ground. With our offensive ones, we can increase our centipede damage. This can be both rings. And then on your weapon, you can do centipede damage. When it comes to the actual weapon, that's usually like the main thing you want to be doing if you do nothing else. I would go for the primary centipede spirit hall potency. It's really, really good. I would go for that. If you disagree or you can't hit that, maybe you've missed it and you've got something else, the other stuff in the centipede category does work. Like if we go in, the other stuff in here is actually pretty good. You can see you've got a chance for Stinger to extra hit. You've got chance for the Devourer to deal double damage. Like these kind of things are all fine. So if you're in that section and you hit something else, it's completely fine. So yeah, that's what I've been looking for on gear while leveling. Okay, now onto the Season 10 Chaos Perks or Chaos Powers. When we look at these, this has been recorded pre-Season 10, so I'm trying to get the best estimate based on, the testing we did, but some things do change. Now, these are, you can have one unique and you can have 3 of anything else, and obviously while leveling, you might not find the ones you want. So what do you want to go for? So on the unique one, you're likely not going to get this while leveling. If you do, pretty much anything here is good. There's one that I've selected, Convocation of Spirits, and I'll be honest with you, it's not the best. If we looked at everyone, every class gets a specific one as well. If we looked at all of the ones available, there are much better out there. However, given what we do in this build, this is really useful. Anytime we can proc our ultimate and get some ultimate damage is huge. You can really feel it. Every time you press that button, you can feel it. So having that go off more is going to be really nice. Any of the other ones, if you have them, are still good, honestly. Like I'd say this one's good. The Chaos Unleashed is good. So you're pretty much fine with any. And then with the other ones, the non-unique, I'd go for Chaos Brew. I'm going to put this on pretty much all my builds because it's just incredible. 100% resource cost reduction, 80% increased attack speed, and 80% movement speed for 5 seconds when you drink a potion. It's wild. Accelerating is amazing. When you lucky hit, 10% chance to trigger a chaotic burst, just damage and reduce a cooldown. Incredible. And Erupting Chaos is just 400% damage of your highest damage type, which for us, is going to be poison. So that's pretty much it. And it does damage over 4 seconds, which is amazing. So yeah, that's how I would set this up. Okay, now for the Paragon board, let's go full screen. So obviously there's a leveling build, so don't stress too much about Paragon boards. But the way I like to do this is I like to play these builds quite far. I like to play them into like Torment 1, Torment 2 at endgame, farm some uniques, farm the bosses, and then move over to like a full endgame build. So if you want to do the same, here's 5 boards and 5 glyphs to set you up. So first board, starter board, all the stuff at the start, both sides. Into the middle, you want to drop in the Bane glyph, increased poison damage for every 5 strength, and poison damage effects have a chance to deal double the damage. Next board we want to go for is the Bitter Medicine. You line it up this way to get your glyph straight away, your legendary glyph. Every 100% of your max life you heal for, you inflict close enemies with poison damage and cause them to take 10% increased poison damage up to 60%. Attack speed cluster there. Into the next glyph, we drop in the Consumption. Every 5 in, your Pestilent Swarm deals increased damage. We have multiple ways to trigger those. And increased damage for each active swarm and touch we have going off, which is, this is incredible. Big damage buff when you hit this board. Get both the clusters on both sides, come to the next section, and we are going for the Drive board. So you want to get the Drive board, come to the left side, get all of the movement, speed, and crit, come down here, get the life, come up here, get the Drive. After moving 10 meters, you'll increase damage. This can go up to 10 times stacked, so up to 60. Come to here, and you want to get the Dodge Lucky Hit. You've seen a few times we mentioned Lucky Hit, so it doesn't hurt to get those. Come along to here, and we drop in the Turf. Every 5 strength, usually increase damage to close targets, and then damage reduction. As we start getting into endgame, we're going to need that. All the nodes around it. Next section, we are going for the Sapping board. You want to line it up like this to get your glyph. You want to drop in the Outmatch, increase rare nodes and increased physical damage. And then you get all of the rare nodes around here like this, both sides. Come along to the next section. You want to get all of the attack speed, all of the resistances. Down to here, You can get both of these clusters because you've got more resistances, and then you've got maxed resource generation. Then you have sapping when you cast 3 gorilla, jaguar, eagle, or centipede skills with the same spirit in a row, restore vigor, and deal more damage. We are always doing that because we're using all poison, all centipede. And then the final board we're going for is the vicious shield. Increase damage for each of your max life you have as a barrier. And we have some good barrier generation depending on how much spirit you have, how much Paragon points you have. You can get some extra barrier generation in here as well. Like you can start to come along like this and get some extra barrier generation. So if you want to do all this, come along and grab the legendary node. Increase damage for each max life you have as a barrier. You want to come down into here and get Fester. 5 decks purchased in range to increase damage with centipede skills, and your centipede skills deal increased damage to crowd controlled enemies. And that's pretty much it. That's going to set you up fine. I would probably just, the way I normally do it is I just go straight to the legendary, straight to the glyph, legendary glyph, until I've got 5 boards and 5 glyphs. And then I start to like pad out the different sections to hit the additional requirements. So like we have to hit 40 decks, then move on to the next one. That's how I normally do it, as I'm gaining my Paragon boards, Paragon points slowly. But that's the build, honestly. That's everything you need to know. This was so strong last season, and it's going to be even stronger this season. So have fun, enjoy it. That's everything. I'll update this and I'll link it down below, so it will be fully available when this video comes out. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.